June 13th, 1944. Just after dawn. Normandy, France. The air smells like wet earth, burned fuel, and crushed leaves. A low mist clings to the hedgerows, turning the narrow Norman lanes into tunnels of shadow and silence. Somewhere to the west, artillery thumps distant, rhythmic, almost routine now. But here, in this sunken road outside the village of Tilly-sur-Seulles, it's quiet enough to hear engines idling. Inside a Panther tank, crouched beneath the trees, Underofficer Karl-Heinz Bauer wipes condensation from his periscope with the sleeve of his black Panzer jacket. He's been fighting since Poland, France, Russia. He knows armor. He knows steel. And he knows, or thinks he knows, the enemy. Shermans. Someone mutters in the turret. Bauer smirks. They all do. Through the narrow slit of his optics, the first American tanks appear, emerging cautiously from behind a hedgerow. Boxy, tall, awkward. Their silhouettes are unmistakable M4 Shermans, the workhorse of the U.S. Army. Thin-skinned, gasoline-powered, easy prey. The gunner chuckles. Blech-Butchson, he says. Tin cans. This isn't bravado. It's an experience. Bauer has seen Shermans burn brood up with a single 75 millimeters hit. He's watched their turrets pop, hatches flying open like lids on boiling pots. In Russia, in Italy, in training films and frontline gossip, the verdict has been clear. The Sherman is no match for German armor. Not for a Panther. Certainly not for a Tiger. The Panther's engine growls softly as Bauer signals to hold fire. Let them come closer. The Americans advance in a staggered line, unaware or pretending not to be that a Panther waits less than 600 meters away. Their commanders are cautious, stopping and starting, coaxing infantry forward to probe the hedgerows. The tanks look nervous, hesitant. Bauer almost feels sorry for them. Almost. Range? He asks. 500. Closing. Fire. The Panther's 75 millimeters gun erupts. The recoil slams through the turret. The shell punches cleanly through the lead Sherman's frontal armor. For half a second, nothing happens and flame blossoms from hatches. Black smoke coils into the morning air. A clean kill. The second Sherman tries to reverse. Too slow. Another shot. Another hit. Another burning wreck clogging the narrow road. The crew laughs now. Real laughter. The kind that comes when the world behaves exactly as you expect it to. This is what they sent against us? The loader scoffs. The Americans respond with smoke and blind fire. A few rounds smack uselessly against the Panther's glassy plate, bouncing away with sharp metallic cracks. No penetration. No danger. Confidence settles in like armor of its own. This is how it's supposed to be. But then Bauer notices something strange. Behind the smoke, beyond the burning hulks. Movement. More Shermans are appearing, not one or two, but many, emerging from multiple lanes. From gaps in the hedgerows, Bauer was sure they were empty minutes ago. Fresh tanks, their olive drab paint unscarred. Tracks still caked with wet sand instead of dried mud. One column becomes two, then three. The gunner hesitates. Herr Unteroffizier, there are more. How many? A pause. Too many to count. Bauer adjusts his periscope, scanning left to right. The road behind the destroyed Shermans is filling, not emptying. Tanks idle nose to tail. Crews calmly button up, engines humming. Others peel off into fields, crushing fences, maneuvering around the wrecks with practiced ease. It's not reckless. It's methodical. And somewhere deep in Bauer's chest, something tightens. This isn't a counterattack. It's a replacement. He's seen enemy assaults stall after losses. He's seen them retreat, regroup, disappear for days. But this feels different. As if the Shermans in front of him were never meant to survive in the first place. As if they were expendable. Keep firing, Bauer orders, sharper now. The Panther roars again. Another Sherman burns. Then another. But for every tank destroyed, 2 more roll forward. Infantry follows close behind, hugging the steel hulls, using them as moving cover. American artillery begins to walk closer, shells tearing into the hedgerows, showering the Panther with dirt and leaves. Radio chatter crackles in Bauer's headphones. Other Panzer units are engaging Tigers to the south, Panzer IVs closer to the village. The reports are the same everywhere. Shermans, everywhere. They keep coming. And for the first time since Normandy began, Karl-Heinz Bauer stops laughing. Because this doesn't feel like a battle anymore. It feels like standing in front of a machine. And the machine hasn't even started to slow down yet. The Panther shudders as another American artillery round lands nearby, the shockwave rattling bolts and optics. Dirt rains down through open seams, coating the turret floor in grit. Bauer grips the edge of the cupola, forcing his breathing to slow. This is still manageable. This is still a fight. But the numbers are starting to feel wrong. Loader, how many rounds left? 23 armor-piercing, 10 high explosives. Bauer does the math without meaning to. 23 kills if every shot is perfect. And already he knows they won't be. Outside, the hedgerow that once felt like a cover now feels like a cage. Smoke drifts low, turning distance into guesswork. The Sherman columns keep feeding in, their advance strangely calm. No wild charges. No panic. When one burns, another rolls past it as if the wreck were nothing more than a fallen tree. A new sound cuts through the chaos, a deeper, heavier engine note. Tiger, the gunner says, almost relieved. To the right, a Tiger eye edges into view, its massive 88mm gun already firing. The American response is immediate. Sherman scatter, some backing away, others pushing forward aggressively, drawing fire. Bauer watches in disbelief as several Shermans deliberately expose themselves, firing smoke. Spraying machine gun fire, doing anything to distract the Tiger. They know they can't win a duel, so they don't fight one. Instead, American tank destroyers lurk farther back. An M10 Wolverine peeks from behind a farmhouse, fires, misses, retreats. Artillery shifts again. Fighter bombers P-47 scream overhead. Not attacking yet, just circling, waiting for clear targets. This is coordination. Bauer's radio crackles again. A voice he recognizes, Hauptmann Ernst Muller, commanding a Panzer battalion near Villers-Bocage. They're replacing losses immediately, Muller says. We destroyed 8. 10 more arrived within minutes. 8 destroyed. 10 replaced. The arithmetic doesn't make sense. Germany trained Bauer to think in kill ratios. 5 Shermans for 1 Panther was considered acceptable. 10-1 was a victory. That math worked in Russia, where replacements came slowly, painfully. It worked in Africa, where supply lines strangled both sides. But Normandy isn't Russia, and it isn't Africa. Normandy has beaches. Bauer has heard rumors, of course. Stories whispered in mess tents. That the Americans landed not just men, but entire factories. Those damaged tanks were being hauled back to the coast, repaired overnight, and sent forward again. That some Shermans have been knocked out twice, even 3 times, only to reappear days later. He dismissed it as frontline exaggeration. Now he's watching it happen. A Sherman to his left takes a hit, smoke pouring from its engine deck. The crew bails out, sprinting for cover. Bauer tracks it, ready to finish the job when another Sherman slides into its place. Gun already firing. No hesitation. No pause. As if the first tank never existed. Fire. Bauer snaps. The Panther fires again. Another kill. Another burning hull. But the advance does not slow. It absorbs the blow and continues. Bauer realizes something else then, something colder. The Americans are not protecting their tanks the way Germans protect theirs. Panthers and Tigers are precious. Each loss hurts. Crews baby their machines, withdraw them for minor damage, wait for recovery vehicles that may never come. A knocked-out Panther can cripple a unit for weeks. But the Americans treat Shermans differently. They treat them like ammunition, expendable tools to achieve momentum. And momentum is what's crushing Bauer now. His gunner calls out another target. Bauer barely nods. The turret slews. The shot lands. Another Sherman burns. But his hands are shaking, not from fear, from realization. This isn't a test of armor thickness or gun caliber. It's not even tactics, not really. It's production. Somewhere far away, not in Normandy, not even in Europe, machines are stamping steel, welding hulls, and casting turrets. Trains are loading flat cars. Ships are crossing oceans. And here, in this hedgerow, Bauer is facing the final link in a chain that stretches back to Detroit, to Pittsburgh, to factories that have never seen a bomb crater. He can kill what's in front of him. He cannot touch what's behind it. The radio crackles again. This time, the voice is strained. We're pulling back. Fuel low, ammunition low, pulling back. The order Bauer never expected this early. He signals the driver. The Panther lurches into reverse, engine straining as it backs down a narrow lane. Shermans fire after it, rounds slamming into dirt and hedgerow, some glancing off the Panther's side armor with shrill screams. As they withdraw, Bauer looks one last time through his periscope. The road is full of American tanks. Not stalled, not burning, advancing. For the first time in the war, Bauer doesn't wonder if Germany can win this battle. He wonders how Germany could ever win a war like this. Because even if he destroys every Sherman he sees today, there will be more tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. The Panther retreats into a shattered orchard, its tracks grinding through fallen apples and splintered branches. Bauer orders the engine cut. Silence crashes down, broken only by distant gunfire and the ticking of hot metal cooling. Inside the turret, the air is thick with cordite and sweat. No one speaks. They don't need to. Each man is replaying the same image of the road filled with Shermans, stretching farther than the eye could follow. A runner arrives from battalion headquarters, breathless, helmet askew. His message is short and brutal. Hold if you can. Relief is uncertain. Uncertain. Bauer almost laughs again, but this time there's no humor in it. He climbs halfway out of the cupola, scanning the horizon. From this higher ground, he can see farther west, and what he sees makes his stomach sink. Columns of vehicles move inland from the beaches. Not just tanks, trucks, half-tracks, recovery vehicles, bulldozers. Engineers are already cutting new roads through fields that German maps still mark as impassable. Smoke rises not just from battle, but from controlled demolitions, as American units reshape the landscape to suit their advance. This is an improvisation. It's planning on a scale Bauer has never witnessed. Nearby, a knocked-out Sherman sits abandoned, its hull scarred and blackened. Bauer recognizes it. He's almost sure of it. The chalk markings on the side are familiar. Wasn't that one hit yesterday? The loader asks quietly. Bauer nods. And yet here it is again, or one just like it. Recovered, repaired, returned. The line between destroyed and delayed has blurred beyond recognition. German doctrine taught him that attrition favors the better machine, the better crew. That quality beats quantity. It has been the creed of the Panzerwaffe since the beginning. But Normandy is teaching a different lesson. Quality still matters. It just doesn't matter enough. By midday, Allied pressure builds again. Artillery saturates the orchard, branches raining down like shrapnel. Shermans advance in pairs now, leapfrogging, one firing while the other moves. Infantry sticks close, bazookas ready, eyes scanning every hedgerow. Bauer orders his crew back into the tank. The engine roars to life. They fire again. Another Sherman disabled. Another crew escapes, crawling away, alive. That strikes Bauer almost as hard as a steel. American crews bail quickly. They don't die with their tanks. They survive to fight again, to crew another Sherman waiting somewhere behind the lines. German crews don't get that luxury. A hit often means death. The difference compounds, hour by hour, loss by loss. A Tiger nearby takes a hit from the air and AP-47's rocket slams into its engine deck. Flames erupt. The crew scrambles out, some on fire. Bauer watches helpless as the pride of the Panzer Force dies not in a duel, but under the weight of Allied air power. He realizes then that the Sherman is not meant to stand alone. It is one gear in a vast machine supported by artillery, aircraft, engineers, medics, fuel trucks, repair depots. Remove one piece, and the rest keep turning. Germany's tanks are weapons. America's tanks are systems. As evening approaches, the order comes to withdraw again. Another fallback line. Another hedgerow. Bauer's unit has lost 2 Panthers. Replacements are promised someday. He no longer believes it. As the Panther crawls away, Bauer looks back one last time at the battlefield. Smoke hangs low. Burned out hulls the fields. But between them, Shermans move cautiously, relentlessly filling the gaps, smoothing the terrain, erasing German resistance one position at a time. This is not defeat in a single moment. It is defeated by accumulation, and Bauer feels it settling in his bones. The war he understood is gone, replaced by something larger, something industrial, something unstoppable. Night falls over Normandy without ceremony, no grand silence, just exhaustion. Engines cough and die. Wounded men are carried past hedgerows lit by cigarette tips and shielded flashlights. Somewhere, a Sherman engine runs through the dark, steady and patient, like a clock that cannot be stopped. Karl-Heinz Bauer sits on the hull of his Panther, boots dangling, helmet off. His hands are black with grease and soot. He doesn't bother wiping them clean. The radio is quiet now. Too quiet. Earlier in the war, silence meant victory, the enemy driven off, the field secured. Tonight, silence feels like being surrounded by something vast and unseen. The Americans have halted not because they were stopped, but because they have reached their scheduled limit for the day. That thought chills him. He thinks back to the morning, the laughter, the certainty, the easy confidence of a veteran who had survived Poland, France, Russia. He had believed experience could compensate for anything. But experience cannot outproduce steel. Across the lines, American crews work through the night. Recovery vehicles haul damaged Shermans to the rear. Mechanics swarm over engines under bare bulbs. Fresh crews are assigned. Fuel is pumped. Ammunition stacked. Somewhere near the beaches, ships unload more tanks than Bauer's entire battalion has lost in a month. By dawn, the advance will resume. Not because the Americans are braver, but because they can afford to. Bauer overhears an officer speaking quietly to another. Casual, "I almost resigned. At this rate," the man says, "we cannot destroy them faster than they arrive." That is the sentence Bauer will remember. Not shouted, not dramatic, just arithmetic. He realizes then that the Sherman was never meant to be admired. It was meant to exist in numbers so large that admiration became irrelevant. Its thin armor was a choice. Its reliability was a choice. Its standardization was a choice. Each one designed not to survive every battle, but to ensure the army survived the war. Germany built masterpieces. America built inevitability. Weeks later, as the front collapses and German units retreat toward the Seine, Bauer will see Shermans again rolling through villages, parked beside roads, being refueled like farm equipment. Some bear scars from previous fights. Others look factory new. They all move forward. Years after the war, American veterans will talk about the Sherman's flaws. Its tendency to burn, its awkward silhouette, its shortcomings against panthers and tigers. They won't be wrong. But Bauer understands something those debates often miss. Wars are not won by the best tank. They are won by the tank that keeps coming back. And somewhere in Normandy, in the summer of 1944, a Panzer veteran learned that lesson not from defeat in a duel, but from watching the horizon fill with steel until there was nowhere left to look but forward.